a title that I had to choose that would not get me kicked off of YouTube. I was like, how can I title this episode? I had some ideas like childhood spankings, and I can't. I was like, no, I don't get this off of YouTube, so I got to be careful to say being raised in 1970s. Hi, I'm James Lott Jr. This is JLJ this evening, and this is something that's it's not about being raised in the 70s, not really, but it's more about a type of being raised. Some of us who were children of a certain era, and I found this. This was my great grandmother's. It's a paddle. It's my one of my cousins got it for her, and it's kind of like it was a joke thing. Like this, he got this for her after he grew up, and I was just kind of like, look at that, he's kind of funny. Oh my goodness, whatever. Okay, I'm showing that. But she used to switch. She used to get the switch and spank us. We were bad. I used to get spankings from various adults when I was younger in the 70s, and we had corporal punishment at school. Those you don't know if you remember that. You can sign a paper where they can spank you. My mother never signed it. She was like, "I'll come, call me. I'll come down and I'll beat his ass." So to speak. I'm saying that was the language, but not she didn't beat our ass. Actually, my mother used to hit us. It was always kind of comical, right? It was like, well, it was like, my father did some stuff that was not great, but my mother was kind of comical when you thought about it. But that whole thing about spanking, um, and what that there's been shows made about it, things like stuff now, and how it doesn't translate today for most people. For the next generations, are like, no, we don't do spanking at all. What are your thoughts on it, folks? I have a wide range of people who watch these shows and watch my network. I have a huge demographic. So you tell me what you think about what your thoughts are on spankings. Now, what's funny to me is, um, yes, hitting is never the answer. As a parent, though, I do understand when a child really gets you riled up. Um, and yes, there are parenting books out there telling you how not to get riled up and how to, but we're talking humans, human nature, your personality, their personality. Um, are you tired when they come at you a certain way? Are you exhausted? They come at you a certain way. Is the way does it trigger you? They say something a certain way, you're like, wait a minute. Like there's a lot that we didn't consider back in the day. They said they're just it was adults, kids. Kids have no feelings, nothing. Then at some point, some may say we went too much into kids' feelings. Some may say. Others will say it's a better situation because kids are people too, which was a show back in the day. So what does that mean now? It's like, okay, well, those of us who got spanked, I mean, my grandmother from the South was like, get a switch. So your little tree branch out there and get a couple of hits. I look back and maybe I'm romanticizing. I don't know, but I feel like we were pretty much good kids for the most part. Like it did keep us in line. We had rules, we had regulations. The threat of violence, the belt or whatever, it really did keep many of us in line. And for many of us, it taught us not to do that again. And like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know if we hadn't gotten spanked, would we still try the same way? There's no way of knowing that now. That's obviously too late. Don't know that. But it's one of those things, right? It's like, well, if we hadn't done that, we get the same results. It goes into when I was a kid, the whole it takes a village mentality to raise people. When I was a kid, any adult was in charge. It didn't matter if there was you couldn't say you're not my mother. You still get popped. Get popped by them and then by your mother who said that person was in charge. I mean, it's like it was if any adult spoke to you, you showed respect. Didn't matter who they belonged to. And so I sometimes feel in some areas here in America that's gone. I know there's some areas that still have it. I say Miss Helen, Miss Susan. Mr. So and so. I still say that with my elders. Or if I don't know their last name, Mr. So and so, Mr. Collins, Mr. This, Mr. That. If I don't know them, it's a sign of respect. I've always been taught to respect elders. And I wonder if those spankings, those timeouts, did that help me become this gentleman of sorts? Or is it all just hogwash? I mean, we won't know because it's too late. I mean, it's already happened to us. And yes, and I've never beat my daughters. Now I have spanked my daughters once. It didn't feel good. And there was a long time that I didn't feel good. She was little, but she was really being a pill. But I never had to spank her again. Did it one time, and that was it. Now, was that great? Oh, maybe not. It was the early 90s. So that was still kind of happening then. It was a whole different culture. And but my grandkids, I don't think I've ever been spanked. See? And I don't spank I would never spank my grandkids. I mean, that's not they're not my children. So it's kind of funny. Back in the day, I was raised by grandparents partially, but now I would never touch my grandkids. I mean, I would say, here's your parents, deal with them. Now I may have a stern talking to you, and usually, see, a lot of times I have this deep voice. So a lot of times my deep voice scares people and scares kids. So all I can do is just get serious, throw my face, and speak, and my voice drops when I'm even more upset. It gets deeper. So a lot of times it's all it takes for me, and then I'm done. Then we're good to go. I'll just do anything else. But for those of you guys who don't have deep voices or have that kind of thing, I mean, you have to figure out something, right? And our children are so important, right? They're the now. I would say they're the future, but they're the now. How they are raised and how they move up in life in terms of kind of adults they're going to be. I actually feel like I probably coddled my children too much a little bit because I wanted them not to have the childhood I had in many ways, right? I want them to have the opposite. And that's funny. So I was like, so there would be no, there, it was like, we'll talk. But yes, you get timeouts. Yes, you have to go in your room. Yes, I mean, you're grounded. Oh, that stuff happened all the time. Well, that's the thing all the time, but that stuff happened. Do something wrong, there's a consequence. Of course, sure, of course. But I think that's one of those things where you're like, okay, okay. So I don't know. It's one of those things you think about at nighttime as we're sitting here judging this evening. Just I think about as far as I think about things like this, I go, I think to myself, um, I mean, this is 50 plus. I should say jail. This is not jail. I switched to my jail J this evening. So this is 50 plus. Same difference. I think about stuff at nighttime. I think about my childhood sometimes. I think about how I was raised, how I raised my kids, how the grandkids are being raised. You're constantly watching that. And I have friends and siblings who are grandparents also, or parents with adult children, and we're all trying to navigate it, right? We're all just like, well, how does this work? How does this work? So I don't know. Those are all thoughts because times are different now, and I would never let anybody hit my kids in terms of like corporal punishment. Oh my God, no, that's. I'm kind of glad they stopped that. And I was just like, kind of. I'm glad they stopped that. That's like, no, we're not doing all that. Let the parents come in and take responsibility. Parents that are involved, so let them be involved in every level. That's what I say there. I'm Taylor James, 50 plus. Of course, I want to hear your ideas and your thoughts. I decided to do a video because I want to show the paddle. I want to show the paddle. But we're also audio, of course. We're out on Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, a new episode comes out. I'll talk to you next time. Well,